Welcome to the NodeXL Gallery Glimpse. This week we're talking about the social structure of a Twitter stream about a particular topic. I'm Pierre de Vries, sitting in for Mark Smith, who recently bought life insurance and is now worth more dead than alive. Let's look at a NodeXL snapshot of tweets that all include the term net neutrality or net space neutrality. What are we looking at? Each of the vertices on this graph is a user, a Twitterer, and each of the connecting lines, also called an edge, is a tweet. So let's say Alice tweets, net neutrality is important because. Then there's a vertex for Alice with a little self loop showing that she's made a tweet. If one of her followers, let's say Bob, retweets at Alice, network neutrality is important because, we'd then get an edge from Bob to Alice. And if lots of Alice's followers retweet her message, there'll be lots of edges from them all pointing at Alice. Now if Chris joins in the conversation and says at Bob, at Alice, net neutrality doesn't matter, there's a line from Chris to Bob and Alice and a network starts emerging. To see what the structure looks like, let's just take an X-ray and we'll click on this view an interactive version of this graph. That just shows the vertices and the edges. And the first thing to notice is this huge block of unconnected tweeters in the top left corner, about 20% of the nodes. They're all talking about net neutrality, but they're not talking to each other. So that means that net neutrality really is a brand, not a conversation. Then we see a bunch of loosely connected clusters, and let's zoom in on one of them to see what's going on there. So we click and drag to the center and zoom in. And so what we see is a hub and spoke pattern with Fight for the Future in the middle, surrounded by a whole bunch of nodes, presumably all tweeting, retweeting what Fight for the Future says. To check that, let's look at Fight for the Future's Twitter page, and yes, indeed, they're an advocacy organization. And you'll see that around here there are other advocacy organizations that are loosely connected to Fight for the Future, like Free Press and Public Knowledge. So, ironically, what we then find is that the Twitter stream for net neutrality isn't much of a network, it's more of a broadcast. The tool, NodeXL, is a free and open network analysis add-in for Microsoft Excel. It's a project of the non-profit Social Media Research Foundation. See you next time.